My goodness. The way this show just wrecked my nerves, y'all, I don't know where to begin. Let me start off by saying this. Some of you all may disagree with me. There has been a lot of things that Heavenly has said about the other women that I feel they had every right to go off on Heavenly the way that we saw Contessa do it. I do not feel like Contessa was warranted in spraying Heavenly the way that she did, because nothing that Heavenly said on YouTube about Contessa was that deep. So to see what she did and how it turned into this whole thing kind of ticked me off. I do not agree with a lot of what Heavenly does, but I gotta say this is how I see it, and y'all tell me how you see it. Heavenly at first was not going there. Where Heavenly messed up for me was when she said the whole mama thing. I need Heavenly to find something else, because Heavenly has done it at this point, and so has Sweet Tea. But we'll get into it. Y'all do me a favor, hit the like button as we jump into this Married Medicine review. I'm telling you all now, there was a whole bunch of talking, a whole bunch of going back and forth, and I'm hungry. And so I got to do this review so I can go eat some food. So there may be some parts that I left out. Feel free to fill me in down below. So we pick up the episode on a light, enjoyable note, right? We are right where we left off, with the ladies heading to this photo shoot where Toya is the creative director. Contessa says, we're always so buttoned up and conservative, so it's nice to show this sexy side of them as doctors. I personally don't feel like they're all that conservative. I mean, Jackie kind of is, but okay, we're going to go with it. So they arrive and we see a carriage and a horse and bales of hay and flags and barrels, and it looks like a good time. She says, each one of you are going to have 15 minutes to get your individual shot right. She's real opinionated about everything. The photographer is there, and they start with Sweet Tea by the bale of hay. So she goes, and then Jackie goes with her leg propped up. Jackie looks good. Jackie did her thing. Quad goes, I was underwhelmed. Then there's Simone. She gets Heavenly on the barrel, tells Heavenly to spread her legs. Heavenly is a little reluctant, but she does it. She also throws up her hand like she's riding something, and Toya don't like it. So the ladies are talking about how she's a drill sergeant, to the point where Dr. Jackie says she's like an itch that you can't get to. Next thing you know, there's this lady on a horse with this beautiful coat that drapes all the way across the horse. That is an American flag. It is the fake Beyonce. Her name is Michelle, and she apparently does Beyonce impersonations. So she's there to help Toya direct. Contessa surprised me. It's time for her part. And even though the wig looked very Party City-like on her head, I got this from the discount store, in the shoot it looked good, and her body looks good. Her body is sick, and that might be why Heavenly was standing off at the side hating, talking about how she's showing too much. You sitting here talking about how Contessa's showing too much skin in this shoot, yet later on they're having to cover you up and give you pieces of their clothing because your titties are hanging out. So you can't talk about it when you're doing your own thing too. So Contessa at first is uncomfortable, but she ends up doing a good job. Phaedra says she sees all of Contessa's lips, both top ones and bottom ones, as they're doing this. Toya goes, she's the one who's so opinionated, but she's struggling to take direction because she doesn't know her left from her right. Phaedra goes, props up her leg. It looks good with her having Toya like pulling the lasso from her, and then having Simone standing in the back holding stuff. It works out. Next thing you know, Toya decides that she wants her denim girls, the two girls wearing pants, to take pictures together. So that's Toya and Not So Sweet Tea. Not Toya. That's Heavenly and Not So Sweet Tea. So Heavenly's like, we don't got to do this. She's like, no, I want y'all to take it. So they take it, even though she doesn't want to do it. Heavenly seems to be more open about it once they start doing it. You hear, Heavenly, you look good, but Tisha, you not looking at the camera. Fake Beyonce's like, y'all look great. You should look here. And Toya's like, that's not how I want it. I want it like this. And the ladies are like, wait a second. You flew her out here. Why don't you listen to her and let her do what she's doing? And they not feeling what she's saying. They're like, okay, whatever. So they're standing back to back, taking these pictures, even though they don't like each other. Then at the end, you hear that Toya might be crazy. She might be annoying as a dry tampon, according to Phaedra, but the photo shoot went well. I don't even know where to begin with that. So Simone thinks that they did a great job, but they're all being fake. On to ATL. So in the next scene, we get to see what all the different guys are doing with their kids. So Cecil is hanging out with his boys and teaching them how to cook. I don't understand why we're just doing this. He said, when he was at home, he was doing all the cooking. Then when he left for school, his mom started sending him recipes so that he could learn how to cook because Cecil liked to eat. Michael admits that, he's fine with grocery shopping and stuff, but when it comes down to the cooking part, he's lazy. Cecil's like, look, modern women may not cook for you, so you got to learn how to do it. And this is when we got Simone in confessional admitting that she's not a great cook, that she's great at a lot of things, but cooking isn't one of them, to the point where she tried to cook, I think she said a pot roast recently, and it was dry. As they're cooking, Michael, as usual, picks with Miles, talking about how he's seasoning stuff and how he's so stiff with it. And then they bring up the missing speaker that was taken 2 weeks ago. And he's like, and who left the rates? Those cleaning rates aren't even reasonable. As they're cooking, Miles says that this is taking way too long. He's hungry now. Next scene. So we see Dr. Damon. Dr. Damon touched me. Dr. Damon may have his stuff with him, but he touched me in this scene. So Dr. Damon, Alora, and Zachary are out furniture shopping because it's Alora's sophomore year and she's going to be getting her own place. I wonder if things just weren't great with her, because I think that she and let me fix this. I wondered at first if she was getting it by herself because it's an apartment, and I think that she was rooming with Giselle's daughter for her freshman year. But it sounds like Alora, enjoyed it, but she wants to be on her own because she's excited and she feels like everybody should experience having to be with a roommate because it's different, but she's just looking forward to having her own space. So Alora doesn't even know what a cutting board is. And Heavenly and him are sitting in confessional, and Heavenly's like, I think we spoiled our children. And I hope it wasn't a mistake. Dr. Damon is like, no, we didn't spoil them. Your daughter doesn't know how to cook. She's spoiled. It's all right. I spoil my son sometimes too. My son knows how to cook certain dishes, and even though he knows how to cook certain dishes, he very rarely cooks. So we see him walking around with his kids and talking. And as they're doing this, I'm like, there's something so special about seeing these men be present in their children's lives. It does something to me. It might be because of how close I am with my father and what that relationship looked like. But I found myself the entire time that these men were on the television screens with their kids, I was smiling. So Damon tells Zach that, he can't believe that not only is he going to dental school, but he's moving out of town. He was just a little baby that he was changing his diapers, and now look at it. And he says, you're moving out of Georgia. And Zach is like, I'm ready, and I'm going to make sure that I focus on work. He tells him, don't, let your job become routine. Remember that you're touching a person's life in a way that most people can't. I think that's very important to say. He says, be excited that every day you'll get to do something new and see something else. So Zach is standing there and he says to his dad, one of the biggest compliments that I've noticed, about you, Dad, is how much, you care about your patients. He says, I hope I could be just like you, y'all. Damon started crying. And I got to be honest, I was sitting there taking notes, crying too, because I felt every bit of that. We see him as he's hugging his kids and he's crying. And I just feel like, given the situation with Heavenly and her mom and Damon, and I think him and his dad had some issues, it's touching to see this man who made sure that he did not repeat the cycle, and Heavenly too. So he says, his son saying that I want to be like you is one of the greatest compliments that he could receive as a parent. He says to his son and his daughter, at some point, y'all will realize how much this means when you all have children. He's like, it's so much bigger than you even think. And I can see that, because as a parent, you don't want to be your kid's friend, but you want to know that they see that you have done right by them. And I think that in this instant, not only is he seeing that he's done right by his children, but he's seeing that his children feel like he's done right by others as well. That is admirable, because not all doctors are friendly. Not all of them are compassionate and caring and all those things. And it sounds like that is the type of doctor that Dr. Damon is. Then, of course, in confessional, Heavenly's like, she kills it. She says, he never said anything like that about me. She's like, I'm going to start crying too. I said, Heavenly, be quiet. We then get to Eugene. Eugene is taking Ashton and Avery to make cologne. I love it. Eugene says that at this point, whenever they go to the mall, that the boys want to go to the cologne counter to smell different scents. It's to the point where his son Avery has in his mind, like, which scents he should use during what season and what smells like if bergamot or whatever goes better on him. Is cute. So the person who's helping them says, if you could pick a scent for your personality, what would it be? I believe it was Ashton that said fruity, and I think Avery said old leathery. I think they're talking about their dad, so they laugh about it and he makes a face. He talks about how Avery used to wear too much cologne and he doesn't know whether or not his girlfriend likes it. He's like, you don't know if your girlfriend likes it? He's like, no. So Ashton says, well, as far as me, I turn heads. They're asked by production, Toya and Eugene, if they feel like the kids are going to wait to have sex. And Eugene says, probably, they'll probably do it towards the end of high school. And Toya's like, not Avery. She's laughing. He's ready now. So Eugene's like, when you keep talking about it like that and you talk about nuts and stuff, yeah, I get being open with your kids. I've said it before up here. I'm open with my son, but by no means do I want to feel like I'm that open with him. I don't want to know about all that. I think that it's important that you let them know to not take the situation lightly. I know for myself, I explained things very early on. I said, yes, it feels good, but there are so many factors other than getting a girl pregnant, other than getting an STI, that you need to take into consideration, because there are a lot of emotions, especially when it comes to young ladies, that you will have to deal with. And since having certain discussions and having his little girlfriends and stuff like that, and the drama that he was getting even before, because I don't want to know. The drama he was getting just because he wasn't on the phone enough. He came to me and he was like, you know what, Mom, you're right. So Toya says she was in the 9th grade. Eugene says, Mama, my mama may see this, so I'm just going to say I haven't had sex yet. And they laugh. Overall, cute scene. So we're back to the ranch. We see a montage of the ladies getting ready and calling their men on FaceTime, and Simone lets Cecil know that, they had a good shoot. It was great, but there's still issues that they haven't talked about. After seeing what happened at the dinner, I get why they haven't talked about it. Heavenly isn't sitting with how she's feeling about Contessa, and she's not Contessa. What did she say? She says Heavenly's apologizing, but she's not sitting with it and making it heartfelt. And that's because it's not heartfelt. Y'all keep having all these expectations of various people and you want them to be accountable and all these other things. But Simone, you haven't had one-on-one conversations either. You could have very easily went over to Quad's room and talked to her about the situation, but that's not what y'all do. But she then admits to Cecil that her and Quad are doing a great job of having a superficial relationship right now too, because they very much so are talking about what they need to talk about. We then see Contessa on the phone talking to her daughter Layla about being nice. She's asking how the kids are getting along, and we're hearing about how one of the daughters hold grudges. And she's like, I'm glad you're not like that, because when you hold a grudge like that, you're giving somebody power over you. So I guess that doesn't apply with Heavenly, because baby, this situation just got worse. It got so much worse. We hear Jackie talking about how Heavenly and Contessa need to sit down, but they're both too stubborn to do it, and how Quad just requires a lot of apologies. Simone still needs to speak to Quad. So the ladies meet up for dinner. Quad's outfit for the dinner, in my opinion, should have been worn for the shoot. It was really cute. Heavenly has on this black dress. It's very cute. It's a whole bunch of cutouts, titties barely being covered up, whole back out. Toya looks at Tisha, who has on black pants and everything, not really that cute to me, and says, y'all are dressed alike. I keep telling y'all got a lot in common. Black hat, similar belt, similar color. It just, it means I think y'all are a lot alike. She says that they respond alike, and that she feels like Tisha is channeling her inner Heavenly. Next thing we know, the Beyonce lookalike Michelle is there, and she's back with her microphone and her American flag, and she does a performance for them. And Phaedra and the others feel like she looks a lot like her, and she does a great job. After they're done, Jackie's like, how did you get your hips to move like that? Phaedra says, no, how did you get your hips to look like that? I think she said. I don't know if I said that because it's written wrong on my notes. Phaedra says, Jackie, you got to stop exercising and eat some biscuits. And they all laugh. I don't know, because something about that booty looked a little fake to me, the way her hips were, but maybe it was real, but they all laugh. Jackie then looks around and says, for some people, cornbread falls in the wrong places. And I said, Jackie, here you go again with the weight thing. You used to get on Heavenly a lot about that in the earlier seasons, and that's why a lot of people didn't like you. Quad is like, she's not talking about me, because I might like cornbread, but it's going in the right places. She says she may be talking about her little friend Heavenly. Michelle, says y'all got to love on each other because we are all we got. Next thing you know, Toya jumps in to start the mess. Toya is the entire reason why this argument happened. Yes, these are grown women and they should know how to control themselves. But if anybody has learned anything in watching these situations, these women deal with issues the best way when it's not a whole bunch of people around. Because when they have people who are being made privy to the conversations, it's a different energy. Because Contessa was very much so on, I'm going to spray you. I've been holding all of this. I've dug up whatever information I need to dig to get at you. We're going to get into it. She says they're not addressing the problems. She says we're practicing forgiveness, but they're practicing it in a way where they're saying, I'm sorry, but it's empty and it's just for them. She says there's a lot of them doing it, and Michelle doesn't want any part of it, and she excuses herself. She's like, it's nice to meet y'all, and she's out. I don't blame her. So Toya's looking at Quad and she says, I want us all to give real apologies, and you're not getting that. They're empty, and I'm sorry. I gotta be honest. I do agree that some of the ladies, like Jackie, are just apologizing because they don't want to deal with what people are saying in the comment section. Because despite what Jackie says, she really values opinions, and she doesn't like to be seen in a negative light. And she saw what people were saying about her in the comment section, right? Even Simone has made statements about how Heavenly and Jackie forgave her so quickly because of what people were saying, right? So she said, Jackie basically gave you a piece of paper that said, I'm sorry, and she wants you to fill in the blanks. And we get a flashback of 5 weeks ago with Simone and her laughing because Simone is like, oh, so you basically gave her a blank check. And Quad looks confused because she thought that Jackie was genuine. And Toya says, people don't want to be honest about it, and they don't want to hold Jackie accountable. But Jackie didn't apologize for the right reasons. She said they apologized to you because they don't want it with you. And Quad's like, I don't understand how they don't want it with me when you guys are the ones who ganged up on me. You tried to bury me. Simone says, we did not try to bury you. I got to side with Quad on that one. The problem with Quad is because of how theatrical, Toya's words, Quad gets, because of how expressive she is, because of how dramatic it is, a lot of times they are not believing or listening to what she's saying. Them trying to get her off the show, that is burying her. That is causing a significant drop in her finances. That is causing her to possibly not be able to afford her home. That is causing her to possibly lose endorsements and to get a loss of various forms of income had they had been successful at it. Because guess what? They get they get paid by appearance. So if you're not on a couple of these episodes, you're not going to get paid. Every time you see them on the screen for an episode, that's when they get paid. And y'all stopping her from filming doesn't let her get paid. She said, "You all drew blood at the table. And when I didn't die, you turned around and called me in the room and you pricked me some more until I bled out. I was hurt and I had nothing left inside." Quad isn't innocent. But people like Simone, Jackie, and Heavenly, in my opinion, should have not gotten to that situation with Quad. I very much so believe that the only person at that time who had a legitimate reason to feel away was Toya and Eugene. You don't get to be upset with me for living life independently of you. I have friends that I have not talked to in months, right? Because life be lifing. But if one of them texts me, or if one of them calls me, it's no issues. I don't feel away. I'm not like, oh my gosh, Amy didn't call me today. How dare she not call me? I haven't spoken to her for 2 months. You know what happens? We may go 2 months without seeing each other or talking to each other because she doesn't live in the same state as me. And the moment that she texts me or she FaceTimes me or whatever, we pick up right where we left off. Why? Because we're friends. All that other stuff shouldn't matter. But Quad, because of her past with the ladies, they're always going to want more from her. So she's being serious. Toya starts laughing in her face, saying it's too dramatic. And Jackie is smirking. Quad says, "I was hurt." Toya says, "Well, you hurt other people too." They end up sitting down. All right. Quad says, "As much as these ladies preach accountability, they don't take it. I agree. I think all of them do the same thing. I think there's times where Quad doesn't take accountability and times where they don't." So Simone then kneels down as she's sitting and she says, Quad, you have to hear, someone's perspective besides your own, Quad. And Quad's like, "I get that. I've listened to their perspectives, but y'all don't listen to me. Y'all already have a preconceived notion of what you want to hear. The moment I started talking, y'all shut me down." And they do it every time. They tune her out because of her delivery. She was like, when I said what I said, it was like, "Get that beat out of here." And Simone's like, "That's not true." It is. Simone is annoying me because Simone is the one who was rallying everybody together and saying how, she's not emotionally connected to us and she's not emotionally connected to me and she's using you and she's disingenuous and all these other things. And then Simone says, "And I stand on all that I said today." So Toya says, "Nobody at this table wanted you out of here." "Yes, y'all did." Quad says, "Y'all told me to leave and no one stood up for me." Toya tries to then say, "Well, you don't stand up for other people too." When you argue with someone, it is not healthy to keep bringing up thing after thing after thing without addressing the first problem. These ladies unload on each other like they're keeping a tally of who's done what to whom. So it's pointless. Quad says, "I've taken up for Heavenly." Contessa says, "Yeah, against me." It wasn't that deep, Contessa. All she did was tell you all that it wasn't right to ambush her at your house. That's it. She didn't get to arguing with you. She didn't create a scene. All she said was it wasn't right. That's not being against you. That's calling a thing a thing. So she says Heavenly is the only person that you stand up for. And, Quad's like, "That's not true. I've stood up for Toya too." But she stood up for more than Toya because she stood up for Curtis not Curtis, for Jackie when Curtis was cheating on her. She was there with Simone, going to where Simone's father was and everything, trying to look for them. And then y'all want to act like that didn't happen, but it did. She then starts bringing up Heavenly and how Heavenly, doesn't feel like she's been there for her. And I just feel like it's all unnecessary, okay? It is, okay? Contessa starts talking about how, was Heavenly there for you when I was there for you? Because they try to ambush you at Heavenly's and I was there for you. But that doesn't have anything to do with anything. Quad is trying to tell Toya, you're telling me I haven't stood up for people, and I have. But Contessa is ready to jump in, so she wants to make it about her. And then Tisha jumps in and says, I do feel like, you and Heavenly ambushed me on social media. And she's like, you were imitating me. And Quad says, Tisha, I need your attention for a second. I apologize for mimicking your voice, but it's not about you. Tisha accepts it, and Heavenly is like, oh, okay, that's that, they got a fake friendship. It makes no sense to me, and yada, yada, go. And she throws Quad on the bus and says that Quad said it. Even if Quad did say it, Heavenly, you're proving the point that you're not a good friend because there was no reason for you to say that. Contessa feels like Tisha is a good friend and that she has a good heart, and they have been getting to know each other. And Heavenly doesn't believe it. So Quad then explains what she said and what she meant by what she said. And then Contessa starts saying, so who's the liar, you or you? And she's pointing in Heavenly's face like this. I don't even understand why her and Heavenly were sitting next to each other in the first place. Did production tell them where to sit? Because why are they near each other? So Heavenly stands up and says, girl, don't point at me. And she's backing up, right? Walking away. Contessa is running her mouth. And Contessa says, no. Heavenly says, do you do this with your husband? Because that's who you're mad at. I agree. Now, Contessa stands up. Simone says, if you bring fire, Heavenly's going to bring an atomic bomb. In this situation, I don't think Heavenly brought the atomic bomb. I think Contessa did, because Contessa went a little deep, but y'all tell me what you think. So Contessa says, you think my husband's abusive? You think my husband's abusive? And Heavenly says, yes, I think your husband is verbally abusive. And we saw it. Then T says, I think you're abusive. Mind your business. And that's what Heavenly tells her to do, to mind her own business. These women make it worse by jumping in. So Contessa starts saying that the only friend you have is your daughter. That's the only person who wants to be around you. You have to buy every single person in your life. You brought your daughter a beauty supply store and it didn't work. I don't know if she means the store didn't work or bringing her close to her didn't work, because Alora loves her mother and enjoys hanging out with her mom. So I don't know what she's talking about. She says, your kids don't like you. Your husband don't like you. Y'all sleep in different bedrooms. At least I'm not worried about no mixed babies out here with the possible last name of Kimes. And I said, oh, Lord, this is too much. Jackie says, I don't believe it. I think that there are a lot of rumors out there. I don't know what's true or not. I do not think Dr. Damon has another baby out there. I don't think that would be a secret, but who knows? Because I don't really know these people. Dr. Jackie says, I don't believe it. And Quad is like, where is Contessa getting her information from? Is it a source or is she making it up in her mind? As they're arguing, Heavenly's breasts are coming out. They're trying to block her breasts, and Contessa is strolling up mad because they're trying to cover up the girl's breasts. And she's like, this is what I don't understand. Why y'all always covering up for Heavenly stuff? She just lied on you, Quad. She just lied on you. Then Sweet Tea comes over there to try to tag team again. Because we're going to keep trying to go at her together. Because, Sweetie, you can't do it on your own. If you're going to do it on your own. So Heavenly's like, yeah, y'all bonded together because y'all husbands ain't ish. I said, oh, here we go again. Jackie tells her, don't say that. Like she's doing it under her breath. Tisha says, your husband wouldn't even touch you with his big toe. Simone is like, at this point, she's a bouncer. Heavenly says, your man is a cheater. She says, you bringing up my man. Jackie is like, stop. They finally get everybody to sit down because Toya's like, are we going to sit down and eat dinner? Are we going to eat dinner? So Heavenly is getting ready to eat dinner. Contessa's not done. Contessa's like, she's the one who, that keeps doing this. She's like, can you even argue without bringing up my husband or my kids? Contessa, can you? Because you just did the same thing that you're complaining about her not doing. She said, I told you to stay with him and shut the F up. And you took my advice. That's what you did. She tells Heavenly she's stupid. Then Heavenly goes to her go-to thing, which is she tells her that her mama is stupid. She said, did you just say that my mama who died in 2010 is stupid? And Heavenly says, yes. I said, okay, all bets are off. Because she stands on it again. And I said, Jesus. And Quad said, Jesus. We all know how that goes. Contessa is acting like she wants to fight her and she wants to get at her. She ends up swinging Jackie on the floor. Both of them are wrong. If Contessa really wanted to get at that lady, she could. Contessa, you brought up her kids, you brought up her husband, you brought up all those things. She, at the first point, brought up your husband. It went from that to her bringing up your mama. Is it right? No. All of y'all are wrong. But Contessa standing there and keep on saying, she brought up my dead mama, she brought up my dead mama, and Tisha acting like, oh yeah, it's so wrong when Tisha did the same thing to Heavenly. Y'all can't pick and choose when y'all want to have morality. Like, have it across the board. Everybody's wrong. So Tisha was, I said that. Toya tells Jackie, if you go, Heavenly will follow you. Contessa says, continue to pay your husband. That's what you do. Continue to pay. You pay him to stay with you. Jackie, as I said, got knocked down on the floor by Contessa, and Sweetie helped her up. And Sweetie makes another comment about Jackie's age and says, that's what I do. I help the elderly. Toya says, Heavenly's trying to plead her case to Toya because they're in the golf cart. And Toya's like, look, you don't got to say anything to me because you both went too far. I agree. They both went too far. Meanwhile, Contessa's still going off about how they defend her and how they defend her. Nobody was defending her in that moment. They were letting y'all go at it, which is what a lot of y'all do, right? So Quad's like, she shouldn't have said that about your mama. Contessa's talking about how Heavenly goes to the weirdest places when she's angry. But both of them did it because you just went to a really bad space talking about all her kids and her husband. You can't act like you didn't spray her. Now, Heavenly may have said things, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall her saying anything negative about the kids. She said some stuff about Scott, but it was stuff that, she said out her mouth. It's clear that both of these ladies have information on each other. So Jackie now is still trying to get Heavenly to stop, and she starts crying, and that's when Heavenly stops. And Toya is like, okay, Contessa, y'all are going too far. And she was like, y'all, she just said whatever about my mama. Toya's like, yeah, and you said stuff too. That both of y'all said things that were offensive to each other. Contessa says, this is the most abusive relationship that I've ever been in my entire life, and it's with her. Y'all not together, and y'all don't have to deal with each other. What did you come back to the show for if she's so abusive? Why you ain't stay where you were at? Anyways, she says, that's why I got to stay away. And Sweet Tea is not on her head like this. Sweet Tea, you done said some stuff too. Don't act innocent. I need Heavenly to stop talking about people's mamas. I need Contessa to stop standing there crying like she's a victim when she says some stuff too. Y'all tell me what you think about this one. It's okay if we disagree. That's fine. Just keep it respectful. That's one thing that we do on this channel is we keep it respectful. I think that this situation with this cast is going to continue to be a problem as long as people are focused on others. The husbands, Heavenly, you need to stop doing it. The kids need to stay off limits. And Heavenly, you got to stop talking about the mamas too. Have you not learned anything from all the stuff that went on with you and Mariah and the whole mama thing? But y'all tell me what you thought of this. Until next time.